Before I was diagnosed, I was 19 years old. You know, my biggest and most important thing of the day was figuring out what I was going to wear. I wanted to go to college, but I couldn't go to the one I wanted to, so I had to go take my prerequisites in Pittsburgh. Life was, I was young and not committed to anything. I found out I was in a relationship and I was engaged to be married, and this person died of a heroin overdose, and I had no idea that they were positive or that I was positive. And at the arrangements, the funeral arrangements or whatever, talking with his brother, he said, well, Jody's been sick for a while. And I'm like, sick? What do you mean sick? Well, he has HIV.
You are watching Girls Talk TV with your host, Gigi. This episode of Living and Eating Healthy is brought to you by
I'm Amy Krautwurst. I'm a health educator here at Whitman-Walker Health, and I'm also a certified HIV tester and counselor. So, once they've filled this stuff out, they turn this into the front desk. The front desk enters them into the system, which we're watching from up here. So we see somebody check in, we go downstairs, we introduce ourselves to the client, explain who we are, that we're the counselor that they'll be working with for the day, bring them back up, and generally it's off from there. I don't pay too much attention to this form. I prefer to let the client drive. And my first question is always, what brings you in for a test today? And most of the time people are upfront about why they're coming in for a test, whether it's a matter of I had unprotected sex, or I've been with someone for X amount of months and they just told me they were HIV positive, or my friend just found out they were positive, or it's time for me to get a test. I get tested regularly. So you never know. Sometimes we do see victims of sexual assault who, for whatever reason, chose not to go to the emergency room following the assault. So we usually perform the test, and then as a tester and a counselor, I'll give them a referral for some counseling for sexual assault. So you never know. We got broken condoms, all kinds of stuff, and particularly with the advent of the antiretroviral drugs and this new thing called undetectable. Have you heard undetectable before? No. So undetectable means that the person is HIV positive, they're infected with the virus, but the number of the copies of the virus in that person's body are so low that the test technically can't detect it. It doesn't mean that they can't transmit the virus anymore. It means it will be much more difficult, and that happens through treatment. So if they're taking their meds regularly, everything's fine, then we're going to be able to suppress the virus. So now people are choosing not to disclose to their sexual partners because they feel that the risk is lower. And for them, it is an easy way to avoid having to have what can often be a very uncomfortable and awkward conversation. A lot of times, talking to clients, I find that people become very guilty feeling, that they start to feel bad, and then it just comes out in the midst of we're having dinner, we're having coffee, and I have to tell you something, I'm HIV positive, but I'm undetectable. And so many people don't understand what that means, that it sends them rushing in here for a test, which is good because they need to be tested if they might have been exposed to the virus, and it's a good opportunity for them to learn a little bit more about what you and I just talked about. So they take the stress down, they take the nervousness down, and when you pull someone off the schedule, you never know what you're bringing up. So as a counselor, you kind of have to be prepared for anything from I'm here for a routine test to an absolute crisis situation that you have to help that client and support them while you get them what they need. And there used to be anonymous testing. Unfortunately, we're finding so many positive results and having no way to get in touch with people because the anonymous test was reliant on people calling back to get the results. So they were getting lots of positives and no callbacks. So I don't know of anywhere down in the district or in Maryland that does anonymous testing anymore. We do all confidential testing, which means your information is protected just as stringently as it would be at your own doctor's office. We're subject to some pretty heavy laws and regulations that ensure that we protect your confidentiality. And we really would be in big trouble if we were to release any of your information for any reason, particularly the sensitivity of the HIV-related information, positive or negative, it doesn't matter. So we protect very strictly. That's another question I get a lot. Who's going to see this? Who's going to know what my information is? And for folks who may be a little bit nervous about that, you know, okay, you're telling me that, but I'm still uncomfortable. We don't require you to show an ID. You can give me a fake name. You can come in and say that your name is Minnie Mouse. The only thing I'm going to ask from you is that you give me your correct date of birth and that you give me your zip code. That's it.
Oh, okay, I understand.
So as you can see, there's some pretty personal questions on there. And sometimes people say it like it is, and sometimes people circle no, 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 doesn't apply, doesn't apply, doesn't apply, and then come in here and tell me that they've had 15 sex partners in the past couple of months, and that they haven't used protection, and they're very, very nervous. So I know that's why I don't go too much on the forums. It's kind of like a background reference for me.
One in 4 new AIDS cases are women.
And this epidemic does not discriminate. It doesn't care if you're pretty, it doesn't care how old you are, and color is not a factor.
Learn the truth and know your status.
It's a pediatric lancet, so it's not going to hurt very bad. It's going to be a quick pinch. I tell all my clients it's like encountering an overly aggressive mosquito. It's just going to stab you for 1 second and it'll be out of there.
Okay.
Okay?
I did have a question really quickly.
Sure.
Because, for instance, I can see that this is a brand new pack of whatever's in there.
Yep.
It's never been opened, it's sterile, etc. But something like this, like, can I pick it up and, like, you know?
Of course.
Yeah.
I
I'm
get
just
that question
wondering,
all
like,
the time.
how sterile is this? Like, is it the first time it's ever been used
Absolutely.
to prick someone?
Absolutely.
Like, how does someone know this is sterile?
Clients ask me that all the time. There's 2 different tests that we use here. This is the OraQuick Advanced test, which can be used with either oral fluid or blood. We generally don't use it with oral fluid, not because the test is not accurate. With oral fluid it is. We just found it to be not quite as reliable as blood. The concentration of HIV antibodies in the oral fluid is not as high as it is in blood, and your oral fluid can be contaminated by anything you've had in your mouth. So we stick with blood, and that test kit has only the test and the vial of solution that we're going to use to develop the results. The other test that we use here, I think I might even have it in here. Let me reach across you. This is the Clearview Complete test, and inside here is the test, the vial of solution, and a Band-Aid and a lancet that's sealed inside this package. So that is a big difference. People see me, and I always open the package and say, this is a brand new package, everything is brand new and sterile for you.
So this is not used with that?
No, that has one of those already inside. This, since it doesn't have that, we have separate lancets. Absolutely, that is the first time they will have ever been used to prick someone, and that will be the last time. It will never work again, the needle will never come out, and it is against the law in the United States to reuse needles. So there is no sterilization and reuse. The needles you'll see when we do the test go right into that sharps container and they're destroyed.
Okay, so are they both called the rapid HIV test?
Absolutely, they're both rapid.
Okay,
and the
there's
rapid
2
just
kinds.
signifies that you're going to get your results back. The Clearview is 15 minutes, the OraQuick is 20.
Okay.
And I can explain to you a little bit about like the logistics, and we can go over this again outside if you want. So HIV testing is really a 2-step process in the lab. There's a first stage called the ELISA test. If the ELISA test is negative, then we call the results negative. If it's positive, then we go on to do the next test, which is called a Western blot test. If the Western blot is negative, then we call the positive ELISA a false positive. If it's positive, then the results are a real positive. When I have to give a positive result using these rapid tests, the first thing I do after I've delivered the results is explain to the client that this is called a preliminary positive because this is just a screening test. This is not a diagnostic test. And the next step for them when they feel ready to go downstairs is to meet a nurse, to answer any medical questions that they have, and then to go back and get that blood draw for the Western blot test, which we do here on the spot for free.
So question, which one of these are more reliable, or they're just
These two are both 99% accurate, just as accurate as if I drew your blood and sent it off to the laboratory.
Okay.
The only difference is, instead of waiting a few days, you're going to wait just 20 minutes.
Okay. And so why did you guys decide to go with this one today?
We are using this because we have a great surplus of these OraQuick tests that we need to get through. They'll be expiring at the end of the year, so we need to get through them before we move on to the next lot we have on order.
Okay, so what's this in there? Is this
So
something
that
we're using as well?
So you'll see, we can do a mock run through if you want so you can understand what's going to happen before I do it to you. This is a collection loop. So what's going to happen is I'm going to clean your finger off and we're going to let it dry for a second. Then I'm going to prick your finger with a lancet and I'm going to wipe away the first drop of blood because there is some interstitial fluid in your fingertip that's going to come out when I first stick it, and I don't want that to go into the test because it might throw off the results. So I'll wipe the first drop and I'll get the second drop and I will use this little loop here. It looks just like, I'll show it to you, when you blew bubbles as a kid. And it's going to collect a little blood drop and I'm going to mix it right in the vial and I'm going to put your test device in there and we'll wait 20 minutes and we'll have the results.
Okay. And that kit includes something very similar?
Nope. This kit is actually totally different. This test has something called, and I can just actually open it up for you and show you. It has what's called capillary action. So instead of having, I'll still wipe away the first drop. And this is what this looks like, and people always get very scared because they think it's a needle.
When that's the thing that sucks up the blood.
So we're going to prick the finger the same, and that's the lancet that comes with it. And when I have your blood drop, instead of collecting with that loop, I'm going to just touch it and it's going to suck the blood up into the test. Pretty cool,
Okay, this
huh?
one seems cooler. Can, you know, okay, yeah. Can we switch these?
You are watching Girls Talk TV with your host, Gigi. This episode of Living and Eating Healthy is brought to you by
Girls Talk TV, welcome back to another episode of Living and Eating Healthy Dermatology. This show is all about beautiful hair, nails, and skin. With me, I have Dr. Melanie Macklin. She is the celebrity dermatologist. You've seen her on Chris Rock's film, Good Hair, and you've also heard her on Steve Harvey's morning show. So thank you so much for being on the show today, Dr. Macklin.
You're welcome. Thank you, Miss Gigi.
See the full episode on your local TV network and visit us on Twitter at Girls Talk TV and Facebook at Girls Talk Television.
Hi Gigi, I'm Amy. I'll be your HIV tester and counselor this afternoon. So tell me, what brings you in for a test today?
Looking to get a rapid HIV test.
Alright, any particular reason why today?
It's just that time of the year.
Excellent, I love that. Now tell me, have you ever had a rapid test before?
I have not.
Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today. We're going to do a finger stick test, which means I'm going to stick your finger with the lancet, and I'm going to take a very small drop of blood from the tip of your finger, and I'll have your results back in just about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yes.
Do you have any questions for me?
None so far.
All right, then let's get started. First things first, do you have a finger picked out for me? I can take any one of these 3 fingers on either hand. My choice?
Sure.
This one okay?
Yeah.
Alright, so first I'm just going to clear it off for you. And we'll give it 1 second to dry off while I get everything else set up. Alright. We're ready to go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, it's going to be a quick pinch. All done? I need just a little small drop of blood from you. And believe it or not, that should do it. Perfect. So let me just get you cleaned up and wrapped up here. And we will be all set.
That was super fast.
Easy as 1, 2, 3, huh?
And it really did not hurt.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. 20 minutes on the timer. And that's it.
All right, 20 minutes. So thank you so much for, the rapid HIV test demonstration. I'm glad that my results were negative. Wait, you said I would get a certificate or something?
That it is, right there for you. And that brochure will just explain to you what your results are and what that means for you in the future, and also some information on how to keep yourself negative in the future.
Very nice. So I know we spoke a little bit earlier about, well, if my results came back positive, what sorts of services would a clinic like yours provide?
So Whitman-Walker Health is one of a number of organizations down here in the District of Columbia that offer a special program called Red Carpet. And what that is for folks who either know they're HIV and they walk in off the street to say, I need some help, or people who test positive in this kind of circumstance off of a rapid HIV test. And what Red Carpet means is we will introduce you to a team of providers, including a nurse, a doctor, a public benefits navigator, maybe a dietitian, possibly a mental health therapist, all to make sure that you're getting what you need so we can get you into care and make sure that your health stays just as good as it can possibly stay.
So a question, I don't know if it's getting kind of like too personal into your clientele list, but can you kind of describe the majority of the people that come into this clinic?
Sure. We see people of all ages, all races. We see men, women. We see transgender people. This place is open to everyone who is over the age of 18. Now, we can treat people who are over the age of 18, but we do test people 16 and up. So if someone were to come in, perhaps someone who was 17 came in and got a test and it tested positive, then we would be able to refer them to Children's National Medical, which is just down the street, to make sure that we can get them into care too.
So what do you think we need to do to maybe help get the word out there and help eliminate the spread of this disease, especially amongst young girls and women?
I think the most important thing to do is just talk about it. Talk about it and get tested. Now that you've seen the test really is as easy as 1, 2, 3, not to mention it's free and hopefully painless, that's the end game. Talk to your mother, talk to your daughter if you're a mother, talk to your sisters, your friends, your cousins, your aunts, your nieces, anyone, everyone. And don't be afraid to ask, have you gotten a test? When was the last time you were tested? I'm going to go get a test. Could you come with me? To learn more information about this program, please visit girlstalktv.org.
One in 4 new AIDS cases are women.
And this epidemic does not discriminate. It doesn't care if you're pretty, it doesn't care how old you are, and color is not a factor.
Learn the truth and know your status. I recently lost my father to HIV/AIDS in 2004, so it was a personal struggle for me. Even coming into tape this morning, yesterday, I went through a lot with remembering my father's legacy and just how he was caught in the crossfire of being alive, being in America, being a black male. So it was very important for me to spread the word, spread the message, and try to save somebody else's life who might not know it, who's blind to the epidemic that's out here. I feel like women rule the world anyway. So as history has been, we've been a backbone, we've been a supporting force, we've been a driving force for a lot of things that happen, a lot of change. And I feel like women with HIV can be the same change, be the face of the change that we need. We need to support them in their movement, in keeping themselves together, supporting themselves, really. It's really about self-love. When you learn to love yourself, you know your importance, you know your stand and your mark in this world, then it's easier for you to help your sister or your brother out. So I feel like if we are more collective and more unified in our approach with not just HIV/AIDS, but in loving ourselves and devoting the personal time we need to ourselves and our bodies, then we can definitely help women who have been branded by this deadly disease and definitely keep them in support in their families. Education is definitely key. And education does not mean reading, education does not mean going to school, education means self-knowledge. you can't be educated about something that you know nothing about. And it's not just about self-knowledge. It's about storytelling. It's about a community effort to end this. We know about tobacco. We know about cancer. We know about everything else and all of the family secrets that we have. If we come together as a community and we tell those stories and we keep our youth uplifted and educated in their own self-knowledge, then I feel like that will help relieve the epidemic that we've been faced with.
I feel like that there is very little education on the topic. You see lots of commercials about, lung cancer and diabetes, and you see lots of commercials about lots of things that help people, but one of the things you don't see very many commercials of and topics on is HIV and AIDS. And I think that there's a stigma that people who have AIDS did it themselves, deserved it somehow, I don't know, were careless, but some people who acquired it didn't. People don't go out looking for diseases. People don't go out looking for dangerous lives, and they don't look to change their lives like that. And I think that society has changed HIV and AIDS to we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to address it. That's their private lives. They're going to deal with it the way that they want to deal with it, and we don't educate. And so that young adults, girls, cannot be put themselves in that situation. I think that they look at HIV and AIDS as similar to anything else that can be cured with a pill. They almost look at pregnancy as more dangerous than AIDS. Pregnancy is over in 9 months. AIDS is not. And I think that they don't, because they can't see the results of AIDS, they act like it's not there. And because society, the government, people as a whole don't put it out there for people to get educated, they're not. And so if you don't put it in somebody's face, they're not going to see the effects of it. I think education is the prime. You have to meet girls in junior highs and high schools and college campuses where they are and make it relevant to them. You can't say, those girls over there or these girls over here, because any girl who engages in sex is at risk. And so whether you don't know where anybody has been, what girl the guy that you've been with has been, where that person has been with, who that person, the list goes on. And so you can't say, well, it's okay because I have a steady boyfriend. Well, you don't know where he was before he was a steady boyfriend. You don't know who those people were with before they were, And so you have to educate them on, it's not just what you can see in front of you. It's what goes beyond what you can see. And I think that is one of the important parts of educating women. Is not about what's happening today. It's what happened yesterday and the day before yesterday and the day before that. And that they can look beyond that and look beyond today and look at tomorrow. Well, my decisions and my actions affect what's going to happen tomorrow and next week and next month and my plans for the future. And I think a lot of, especially young girls, don't think about the future. They think about now. And this is what I want. This is what my boyfriend wants. Instead of, is this how it's going to affect my future career, my future plans for a family, my future anything. If you make decisions today based on today, your future is already going to be established for you. Any organization that supports educating women, especially girls, on anything, especially something that is as important and life-altering as being informed about HIV and AIDS, is very important. I'm a science teacher. I am involved with teenage lives, and I see every day that students are not educated. They live haphazardly, and they throw care to the wind when it comes to certain aspects of their life because they don't know the facts. They don't know how one little decision can change their life forever. And so that's why I think an organization like this is so necessary and so needed. To learn more, go to girlstalktv.org.
Thanks for watching. Join us online at girlstalktv.org and visit us on Facebook and Twitter too.